today's tutorial. We are going to answer the question, who is a gifted child? Every child is born with an inbuilt ability, the ability that makes him original. God was talking to Jeremiah. He said, "Before I formed thee, I knew thee. And before you came out from the womb, I sanctified thee." Meaning, I cleaned thee, I purged you, and I ordained you a prophet unto nations. So before a child is born, God has already packaged and put in that child what he or she will be. So from where we read in Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, you will discover that before a child is born, destiny has already been packaged for him. It is the duty of the parent to help the child to discover the area of his giftedness, because most times that inborn ability is being manifested at the tender age of the child. Who is a gifted child? A gifted child is any child that was born with an ability that is above and beyond human perception. Any child that manifests a high sense of creativity is a gifted child. A child might be gifted in one area of life without being gifted in another area of life. That a child is gifted doesn't mean that he is a jack of all trades. He can do everything. He is gifted. No. A child can be academically intelligent because he is gifted in that area. That same child that is academically intelligent can come out in the secular world and cannot be able to do anything. Then you still see a child that is an ode or olodo or iti. These are Nigerian languages. Then that child is a failure in academics. He doesn't know anything in academics. In fact, he doesn't like going to school. But the same child was able to invent something. The same child is intelligent in another area of life. So a child can be academically intelligent, smart, gifted, without being gifted in another area of life. Then another child is gifted in another area of life without being gifted academically. Why some are gifted both academically in another area of life. If you go to the book of 1 Corinthians 12, verse 7, the Spirit of God was sharing gifts, and is still sharing gifts today. To some, he gave them one. To some, he gave them two. He gives them severally as he wills, meaning the gift is not equal. The way it was shared, it wasn't given equal. So every child has his own capacity, his own ability. And in that area of life where he needed to function, it is only there that you will see him featuring above human expectation, above human perception. It is the duty of parents, I kept saying it, it is the duty of the parents to help these children to develop their giftings. But unfortunately, some of these parents are very ineffective in helping their children fine-tune their gifts. This irresponsibility of the parents could be as a result of ignorance because they don't know. Why some knew, but they are just killing the gifted child. So let us look at the ways you can identify the area of giftedness in your child. The signs that will help you to identify the area of giftedness in the life of these children. Number one, absolute passion. When a child develops hunger and passion for something, and no matter how long it stays, notwithstanding how long it stays, he doesn't get bored about that. Please find his destiny in it. So passion is a key to identifying the giftedness of a child. Number two, when a child is extremely inquisitive, he asks a lot of questions about a particular thing all the time, it is a sign. The child wants to know. He wants to know more about that. And that is why he kept asking. Because his brain has a connection to that thing. His brain was wired in connection to that thing. That is why he will always come up with technical questions about that issue. Another sign is fast learning. You will see a child that is an ode, olodo, iti in academics, but you see him learning fast in another area of life. A child might not be good academically. His grade is nothing to write home about, but look at him doing well as an engineer, a mechanic engineer. Look at him doing well in sports. Look at him doing well as a musician. This child, you can call him as a parent and say, go and buy bread for me. The child will go and come back with biscuits. You now ask him, what did I ask you to buy? He will scratch his head. And I said, you asked me to buy biscuits. At the same time, a child you sent to go and buy biro, and he comes back with pencil. To you, this child cannot amount to anything. Because going on an errand is the commonest thing a child can do. But the same child, you will see that child excelling somewhere. You'll be wondering, how is he coping? How is he remembering things? How does he know what to do? Destiny is involved. Any area of life where a child is called, you don't need any help, because nature itself will help the child. Another sign is creative ability, creativity. A child that cannot amount to anything academically, he is always the last in the class. He doesn't like going to school. He will cry every morning as you're taking him to school. That same child is creative in some areas. You see the child producing a car. He might be using carton, he might be using anything, but you see him constructing something like this. Why will he be able to do it? Because destiny is helping him to accomplish that. So any area of life where you see a child excelling extraordinarily, find his giftedness in it. Giftedness makes things super easy for people. Another sign is research. When a child is gifted in a particular area of life, he does research unconsciously about that. He doesn't know that is the area of his giftedness. But on his own, he wants to discover something. Something in him is prompting him to begin to research over a particular issue because his destiny has a connection with that. And as a result, he goes researching. He goes asking questions. He can ask you some technical questions you might not be able to answer. In school, he will still ask many questions. And when this child doesn't get answers to the question, he got pissed off. That is when you will see a child say, I don't want to go to school. Because he felt that the school is incapable in helping him. So a gifted child is a child that has an inbuilt capacity that is beyond and above human perception. The last sign is when a child begins to gather tools, when he begins to assemble things, because probably he wants to lose something, he wants to use it for something, because you don't have it at home, and he needed to do something with it, and he begins to save money to buy tools. When you get to his box and you begin to see different kinds of tools, you get to his room, you begin to see some things you did not buy for him, and it happens that he bought them by himself. Find the destiny of that child in the reason why he bought those tools. Like I will always say, don't punish a child all the time for breaking the rules. It could be he bought those things because he knew that if he asks you to buy, you will not want to buy for him. So he probably decided on his own to save his little money and buy those things for himself. So instead of punishing a child all the time for doing something extraordinary or for breaking the rules, for probably buying things without telling you, find out the reason why he does that. It might help you. The reason might help you to discover the area of his giftedness, the area of his passion. Remember, some of us parents couldn't achieve our destiny. Some of us are featuring outside the areas of their giftedness because our parents failed to help us to identify these gifts. Now that you are a parent, don't fail to help your children identify their gifts. There is a saying that in the graveyard, there are many treasures there. Why are there many treasures in the graveyard? Because many died with their gifts. Many could not activate it. Many could not unleash their potentials, and they died with it. That was then. Now that we have known better, let us help the children of this generation and train them in the same line with their giftedness. It will help them to unleash their potentials. It will help them to be able to affect lives and humanity, and it will also decongest the treasures in the grave. Parents will succeed in getting it right with their children. You will find out that the grave will soon become empty, because what you will see in the grave will only be dead bodies, carcasses. That's the remains of human. But to see an untapped potential, to see an unleashed potential, it is not possible again. So Parents of this generation should take responsibility and help these children. Remember, in nurturing a child, his hobby, his area of passion and interest should take a priority. Don't choose a career path for your child. You can guide him, you can motivate him, you can inspire him, but don't choose for him. God bless you. Please kindly support my channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. This will make YouTube to show my videos to many people. God bless you again.